Have you ever cracked open an egg, looked inside, and thought to yourself, what is that? A lot of us don't know the parts of an egg, so today we're going to crack one open and we're going to identify every part. Okay, so hopefully you can see pretty well here. We're going to take our egg. You can see here we've got a nice beautiful fresh egg. We are going to start just by cracking it. So the first portion of an egg that we want to talk about is actually the part you cannot see right now, and that will be the bloom. It's going to be deposited on the outside of this egg as it comes out. The bloom actually protects the egg from microbial invasion. It also repels water, keeps water out of those pores, because this shell actually has thousands and thousands of pores on it, so that it can put off the carbon dioxide and bring in fresh oxygen. So it's actually good that it has pores, but because it comes out of the cloaca, which is also where feces is excreted through the body of the chicken, we're going to need to have some kind of extra protection. So the hen actually deposits a layer of foamy protein that protects those, that protects the shell, protects the egg inside, and also fills all of those pores, keeping bacteria and water out. Let's crack it open. All right. So first let's talk again about the shell. This is a really great example of pigmentation. We can see that the inside of the shell is still white, meaning that the calcium carbonate actually is not pigmented on the inside. The shell itself is not pigmented. It's actually just a layer deposited on the outside. The pigment that we see in this egg is going to be protoporphyrin because it's brown. This one doesn't have any biliverdin. If it did have biliverdin, the green pigment, it would actually be green or blue on the inside itself, because the entire egg itself is actually pigmented. I'm not sure if you can see it, but there's actually a little sac there on the big round part of the shell. There it is. That's going to be the air cell. Now when the egg is laid, it's going to be hot, and the air outside of that egg is actually going to be cool. So when that happens, the contents of the egg contract and shrink, forming this little air cell, and that's going to be important for embryo development later on. You can see it really good in that light. You can see where the glare is. That's the air cell. So the air cell is formed between the outer membrane and the inner membrane of the shell membrane. So if we look here, we can see, when I pull this here, we can see a little white film. So here we can see this little white film. That white film is actually that membrane. So this is, in this case, it's the inner membrane. So the outer membrane is going to be connected to the shell. The inner membrane is going to also be connected to the shell, except for in the case of that air cell. So if we take a look here, we see this runny part that looks like it's making the bowl wet. That's going to be the thin albumin. The thick part that looks like a really big clear bubble, that's going to be the thick albumin. So the thick and the thin albumin are going to serve almost like amniotic fluid for that chick as it develops. And they're also going to contain all the proteins required for growth. Here in the middle, we can see what we all know is the yolk. It's going to be the site for embryo development. And then if you look on the sides, you can see little white, what looks like strings. Now, I have heard a lot of theories as to what people think this is. I've heard people think that it's a lot of things. Let me just say that. If you want to comment in the description, please let me know things that you've heard that people think that is. So it's actually called the chalaza. Some people also call it chalazi. Some people call it chalaza. I'm going to put it here in the top so you can see how it's actually spelled. And that's actually a chain of proteins that are going to keep the yolk from spinning around in the albumin. So it connects the yolk to the albumin. Yeah, I'm not sure that you can see it. Okay, we'll add another video so that you can see the germinal disc. The germinal disc is going to be like a little white circle in the middle of that yolk if it's unfertilized. And if it's fertilized, it's going to be like a white circle with a clear inside. And it's probably going to be a little bit larger in a fertilized egg. That's going to be the only proof when we crack an egg that it's fertilized or not. It's not going to have any different consistency. It's not going to be shellless. It's not going to be anything interesting. At least at this stage in development. Obviously later on it's going to become a chick if incubated. But at least for now when we're just cracking to eat. But that's going to be our egg for now.